Hello and welcome to Coach Marketing Mastery. My name is Sean Snowday. I am the co-founder and the voice of Coach Marketing Mastery, and along with India Kern.
Good morning.
I feel like I'm on the Today Show every time I do this. And you're Christina Ferrari. See, I'm showing my age right there. You don't even know who she is, do you? See, that's sad. All right, so we're going to go over how to stay ahead in a noisy world. So
Okay.
today we're going to go over a few things. It's going to be, adapting to the ever-changing algorithm landscape. So it's really about social media algorithms, but we're going to go to adapting to the algorithm, the power of storytelling in social media, strategic use of visuals and media, which is extremely important. Some people say using the cartoons. I'm going to go into that in a second, but profile optimization and content optimization across platforms. One of the things I find really hilarious are there are these cartoon software applications, and they go, using cartoons is how you should be selling your product. But it's a guy it's like, well, don't you think you should make a cartoon for the commercial of your product?
Yeah.
So, like, I don't understand that, but we'll get into that later. But the first thing is adapting to the ever-changing algorithm landscapes, which from the very beginning of the internet, it's always been like that. So I just want to tell you something that you probably don't know.
Okay.
And now I got a Cypress Hill song stuck in my head. But anyhow, back when Gmail first came out, like everyone had Hotmail or Alta Vista, or
Yeah.
or you really, before all of those emails, you had to get your own. You had a dial up, right? So you had your, I think it was called a ISP or something like that. It's been 30 years, and then you would have your email was your ISP, and then the Gmails and the Hotmails and all that stuff started coming out. But with Gmail, you had to be invited by someone that had a Gmail. You just couldn't go and sign up and get one. So they started this whole, like, I'm fear of missing out of, oh, I want to be a part of that, but I got to be invited, which we should probably do with Coach Marketing Mastery.
Well, I discovered something this morning
What's
that
that?
we can have a subscription on Instagram.
You what?
You can make a subscription on Instagram,
Which means what?
which means people can pay like a minimal,
$1.
$10 a month or whatever to get private content on a business account on Instagram. Not everyone has that feature, but
Okay, well, we'll talk about that later because I don't know what you're talking about. But let's talk about the algorithm, the ever-changing algorithm. So I started out with, you had to be invited to get a Gmail.
Right.
And then what happened is Google came out. There was Yahoo for the search. Google came out, and then they started a thing called the Google Slap many years ago.
Yeah.
And then SEO and all that. But none of that existed. It, like, once it came to fruition, and so when Windows came out, there was a certain algorithm within the operating system. So people really didn't know that word, but now everybody's heard it. So what has changed? How do you deal with the ever-changing algorithm? How do you stay on top of it? That's the question.
Yeah, I mean, you'll definitely notice it. I've noticed it just in what we've been doing. We just started, fairly recently. I think we started our Instagram Coach Marketing Masterclass and Mastery a month ago. And what I'm noticing is that a very small account is getting more traction than a more seasoned account that I've had. And even when I stick to my niche, right? So it's interesting that the smaller account is doing better than the bigger with more following account. So that's one thing that I'm just doing a little testing, and it's really interesting. So I think that if you haven't started on Instagram, you need to start, because they really are favoring new content, fresh meat, so to speak.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you're small and you have 20 followers. I think we have 28 followers in Coach Marketing Masterclass, and the videos in there are doing better than an account that has, thousands. It's crazy. I mean, it's like what's going on here?
Well, here's the thing. Why that? So Justin Bieber and Ludacris. Justin Bieber's first hit was called "Baby, Baby, Baby, Baby." Oh, right. I shouldn't know that, but I do. And it is the most hated video on the on YouTube.
Mm,
It has the most dislikes.
okay.
And so the way Ludacris puts it is it has over 1 billion views because he's in it, and it has the most dislikes in it because Justin Bieber's in it. That's a little joke.
Yeah.
But I think that the reason we're getting so much traction is because I'm in it. I'm just kidding.
Well, I mean, your video actually did better than anything we put up there.
Yeah.
And it was when you were giving a pro tip on cross-pollination.
And Uncle Sean. And another funny thing about this is I have a Twitter account that actually drove more traffic to a website, and it had 0 followers. Now, we were just starting out this thing. So I made a Twitter account. I posted on it, and everything got shared.
Mhm.
And a lot of people clicked through. It had to do with litigation and patent law and litigation.
Mhm.
That was another business that we were running. And the thing is that it's just like, it's so weird how these newer accounts. So I don't really know, but what are your thoughts on that? And why are newer accounts getting more views or more engagement than the older seasoned accounts? Do you know?
I don't really know the answer, and it's all through testing that I'm even discovering it. But I think that Instagram just likes fresh content, and it's
Okay.
different. And I've mentioned this before. Instagram is changing right now, and they're charging if you want to. It's really to play, so pay to play. And so I think that has something to do with it. Maybe everyone across the board has seen a decrease in engagement and views across the board. So
And I agree with charging, so I'm going to pay for an accountant. Being
okay.
devil's advocate.
Okay. Well, I mean, it if you got it, they will push it to the top the more you pay.
Right. And it just keeps away a lot of the trolls. Now, so the thing is with the power of storytelling. So this is the really big thing. So I tell stories and I write, and it's really weird because I'll write. I was writing something a few years back, and one of my followers said, "Sean, have you ever considered writing a book?" Like people, it's really engaging when I write stuff, and I don't realize that I'm painting a picture.
Yeah.
I'm just writing the way I write. It's not like I've taken any classes on it.
Mhm.
So, but with the storytelling, what is the difference? I saw something from Andy. He did something on Thanksgiving Day, many, many years ago.
You're talking about Andy. Okay, yeah.
Probably about 15 years ago, if not more. And it was really, really great content because, he did that Hollywood stuff. He did the Blair Witch Project and all that. So he was really tied into the storytelling thing. And he said there's really only 7 stories, and a lot of these stories are in the Bible. So what are your thoughts on, the storytelling in social media, and how would you get really good at it?
Well, studying it, and there's certain steps you take in a good story. I mean, it's a formula.
Well, who's your favorite guy?
My favorite guy is Donald Miller.
And then how does his storytelling work?
So he starts with a controlling idea. He then asks a story question. He agitates the problem. He lists the stakes at hand if you don't do what he's suggesting, like what are the stakes? And then he introduces the guide that is usually you or, the coach that'll help the hero, the person you're talking to, succeed. So introduce the guide, and then you have a call to action. So follow me for more for this great content, or, download my PDF or whatever. And then, because if you don't, it'll do the next step is it foreshadows the climatic ending. I think I can't remember the last one, but anyway, so those are the steps that you take for a classic story. But here's the thing: in social media, you have to catch someone in the first 3 seconds. So you might have to do that with just the hook. Like, what are you going to say in the first 3 seconds that's going to make someone stop? Because you're competing with 5 billion people, and not just in your niche. Everyone that's on social media. So it's like television now. It really has replaced television. And so how are you going to catch someone's attention in the first 3 seconds? Well, you can do it with a hook. You can do it with a thumbnail, like the thumbnail's riveting and you want to know more. So be thinking, it's got to, you're competing with so many people. What is going to turn a glance into a stare, as you say? And that's probably the trickiest thing. So when you're creating in social media, rather than just throwing content there all day long, you got to have some strategy, because, just because you produce a ton of content doesn't mean that it's going to get views. You got to really think what's behind it and what is going to hook that person to stay and watch the full reel or YouTube video, or stop in LinkedIn and download the PDF, So there's strategy.
One of the things I found with the storytelling is the thumbnail, because that's the first thing you see. And a lot of people say clickbait, but the thumbnail is like, oh, it will be like this girl yelling. I love that picture of the lion, and he has a big, beautiful mane, and it's a big, beautiful lion. And he's like in the corner of the cage, and he's leaning against the wall. And then the lioness is like roaring at him. Like he's getting yelled at, and he's just like in the corner, right? Like, what do I do? There's nothing I could do, right? But that visual of that lion and what you get from that is that those are relationships, right? Mm-hmm. That's the relationship between a man and a woman. Is the man is just sitting there listening, and the woman is like saying stuff. Now, I'm not putting down men or women or anything, but I'm just saying it's that visual. And then now we get into the thumbnail. So, and I don't want to use that word because I hate that word, but it describes a woman that complains to the manager. And I don't think that's fair to the people that have that name. But sometimes there'll be the thumbnail, let's say, of a guy. The Pantera has this great album cover where this guy's getting punched in the face, and it looks like he's getting punched really hard, and it's gripping. Like album covers were the thumbnails of the 70s. So what do you do to tell a story in a thumbnail to turn that glance into a stare? What are some things you think that are, and I'm coming from left field on this one.
I think I think that what I've noticed, the thumbnails that do the best are when I'm looking at the camera, or there's something, like you said, some visual that catches your eye. I'm trying to think what are the best ones I've done so far. Thinking YouTube, because it's almost like it's very animated. Like whatever is the thumbnail, it's usually animated person. So it's not how I usually look in real life. Right. Like whatever.
Yeah.
Like that, and that gets attention. But I do want to talk about something else to make that glance into a stare is cutting. The cuts, because we are a world of ADD. Really, I mean, all of us are so used to seeing things fast and consuming content fast that we don't really want to invest a lot of time. So again, it's the 3-second rule. Can I get that person, that viewer, to stop in 3 seconds? So oftentimes you have to do a cut every 1 to 2 seconds, or maybe it's 2 seconds, but that's a lot of cuts. And I'll give you a story because we like stories, right? Recently, and I'm not getting political here, but Biden did a video, and it was like 12 cuts in like 10 seconds. It was a lot of cuts, and he caught a lot of hell about it because his mental capacity. They were like, he couldn't get through the 12 seconds without having 12 cuts or whatever. And but there is something to be said about cuts, is that it changes up so fast that you're watching it to see, it keeps your attention. And I know
Right.
some people, like, I know that you don't like cuts as much as I do. I use cuts a lot because I think it does keep people engaged more than the long form. But it depends on what platform you're using it on. If you're on
Well,
YouTube,
there's a few things, and it's also the age group. So,
yes.
so a lot of people are like, the younger people are, they're used to certain things. So the cuts, when they first came out, it was like, what? That's stupid. Now, but the younger people, they're just raised with it.
Right.
So it's just the standard thing for them. I wouldn't be surprised if the news started doing that, just because everyone is like, that's the only way I'm going to pay attention. We had a guy named Max Headroom when I was a kid. He was on MTV. I don't know. Have you ever heard of MTV? Anyhow, there's this guy, Max Headroom, and he was supposedly a computer generated, and he was very animated, and there was cuts in what he did, and it went viral. And then you find out all these years later, it was just a guy wearing a mask, right? With like but you thought it was supposed to be the first computer generated spokesperson or something like that.
Yeah.
So the thing is back to the power of the storytelling. Like, also there's a thing called NLP, neuro linguistic programming, which Anthony Robbins really took to the next level. That's what he's doing. And I've taken classes on that because I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. I'm doing the NLP. And it's like when you're talking and then someone leans in. Right? Yeah, they're like, wait, what? And you don't, and I've done this many times. I'll be like in a nightclub, I'll talk to a girl I don't know, and then she leans in, and I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not, like, I'm just talking. I don't know what I did. And that's why I took the classes. But then you have the cuts, you have the thumbnail, you have the story, you have the NLP, you have the words that you're using, and the things and the animation. So your favorite guy, what's his name? Mystery?
Yeah.
Right? From the game, their whole thing is like, you neg them, you give them a negative, and then you give them a positive. So one of my favorite ones is where you make someone look bad, but then you save them from looking bad, and you make them look good, and you end up being the hero in everything. So the way that's done is you pick up a piece of dust. Have I told you this one?
Well, I know this one. You like you do something off their shoulder. Oh, what was that?
Yeah. But what you do is you get a piece of dust off of the ground, like a dust bunny, and then you pick it off their shoulder and you hold it and you show it to them. So that, and then you go, oh, this was on, and then you just throw it away.
Or you go, you have something in your teeth, and everyone's just like, oh God, That's the worst one. Like, you have something in your teeth, and the girl's like, oh, you got it, or whatever, But I don't like that whole game. But yeah, okay.
But what I'm talking about is the storytelling,
yes,
and getting people's attention, right? And so there can be a negative in your storytelling, right? So if I was to ask you that question, now that we know what a neg is, or a negative, how would that be applied in the Donald Miller type of, where is that? Where do you find the pain? I have a private client right now that's in so much pain. I've saved them multiple times, even again this morning, and hopefully they're not watching this. And I'm like, look, you guys, it's like, I feel like Indiana Jones. I'm like, look, I want to create a space to where you don't go down that path anymore. But you got to bring me on board. I'm not just going to do it for free, right? So where would a neg be in the storytelling, in the Donald Miller process?
Well, the neg is the controlling idea. There's a problem. What's the problem? This person can't seem to get whatever your client is. I don't know what that is, but can't get follow-up or whatever it is. And you, the guide, come and save the day, but you empower the client.
Right. So I have a friend the other day ate a gallon of ice cream in one sitting.
Nice.
And told me about it. and I said, hey, they were going over, kind of condemning themselves and beating themselves up.
Right.
So I asked them a really important question. Do you know what it was?
No.
I asked them, how many times have you been to jail for eating ice cream? Right? They're not drinking alcohol. They didn't drink a case or a bottle of vodka. They ate a gallon of ice cream. Now, it's not healthy for you, but it's not killing anyone but yourself, right?
Yeah.
So the thing is, the negative is, I ate a gallon of ice cream, and then it's like, hey, can you stop doing that? Or do you consistently, like, there's a lot of people, like I'm one of them. I cannot buy a big bag of chips. I buy a big bag of chips. I'm like, some people it takes a week to eat them. They'll be gone in 2 days, right? So I just don't buy them.
Yeah.
So then you got the negative, and then you got the positive is, hey, we have a way for you to not do that, right? So this in the storytelling, in social media, there's another thing from it's from your ex. Can I say it?
Sure.
Okay. So it's called the triangle of trust. And the funny thing, this is a long time ago. And the funniest part about it is he went right into his Southern accent. And he's like, why did I all of a sudden do that? Like he's trying to be like, I'm the surfer guy. But he went into the Southern thing and then like blew it off like that was a mistake. I was cracking up. But anyhow, the way I remember it, the triangle of trust is you make a video, and then in the video you say go to the blog, and then the blog has a link to the website. So what it was is you're not selling lawnmowers, you're selling lawnmower blades. So what it is it's a video talking about, and you're not even talking about lawnmowers, you're talking about baseball. And you're like, did you see the game the other day? Did you see how the lawn was? Now, this is the story. Did you see? But it's the triangle of trust, right? So did you see how that lawn was carved? The diamond cut, how they do on baseball fields? They mow this way and then they mow that way, and it looks all beautiful and gorgeous. He goes, well, there's a specific way to do that. And if you go to my blog, because you're on YouTube, if you go to my blog, that's going to describe exactly how to get that kind of gut. Then they click. Now they're over at the blog. The blog is saying you got to go this way and that way, and you got to have it lifted off a certain. I don't know how to do it because I don't mow lawns. But anyhow, the blog goes, and if you'd like to know what kind of tool we use, you go to our website. But if you already have this tool, I'm going to send you to where you can get the replacement blades, right? So all of that, you're building trust through the clicks, to the clicks, to the clicks. Ryan just said recently, and we listened to that podcast with Roland and Ryan talking about how no one clicks through anymore. And then he puts out the video the next day with a click here to learn more, So it's like everyone that says this is dead, it's not dead. I click through all the time, right?
Yeah.
But it's just the engagement is different, right? So let's go into that strategic use of visuals and media, because this is a good segue to that. So you're really good at this as the strategic use of the visuals, because you're always, I think you said that was your grandma the other day, or your fairy godmother.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What was that? That was like a creepy old lady from a horror.
Okay, so I have this picture from Hawaii where there was a rainbow and I acted like I'm catching it, right?
Okay.
So I just happened to get a woman on the beach sitting there, a stranger, with her back. It was an older woman and she's sitting on the ground. Well, I didn't edit her out. She's right there, right? So then she made it in my picture. So at one visual, I did the rainbow she turned into a pot of gold. So she became a pot of gold. So that's kind of how I hit her. And then over the weekend, I started playing with it because I discovered that within an app, within like Instagram, there's an AI app, and you don't even have to leave the platform to create these incredible visuals. And so I ended up making her and myself in a fairy garden on a mushroom, and I have wings and she's sitting down there. And I said, look, my fairy godmother. and I have the rainbow. So, I just have fun with it. I think that's what I like to do. I love creating, but there's so much you can do within certain apps, like Instagram. You don't even have to leave the app. You can create everything in one platform, and that's AI within the app. And I actually did that this past weekend. So if you want to take a look at it, just go to Coach Marketing Masterclass on Instagram.
Yeah. And there's another thing that you're going to know more about than I. And I actually said this in one of my group coaching classes that I'm in. But then there's a guy that charges like 25 to 50 grand. He has a video studio. He's very smart. He used to do commercials.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, oh, B-roll. And then he's like, well, actually, B-roll is like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what is B-roll for how do you use B-roll strategically in social media?
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there that don't feel comfortable on camera. So it's a great way to add content over. B-roll is just meaning it's just, it could be, it's not the main character. So it's just, it could be this room. I could be videotaping this room and nothing's happening, but I write over it. So there's so many creative ways to make post and video without having to be the A person, right? The character. You can actually do it over your dog walking and just videotape your dog walking, then put text over it. That's B-roll. Because right. The dog, it doesn't really matter. The dog's not the main character talking, obviously. So that's the B-roll. And it's a great way to get around those people, like especially the people that are a little more fearful of being on camera, or maybe, they just aren't very eloquent. That's okay.
It's not even that. We have a very, very pretty client, and she doesn't want to be on video. And there's just people out there. I'm one of them. There's not many pictures of me in the history of my life, because every time they take a picture, I'm not in it. I'll like walk away, or I'll have to tie my shoe at the last minute, right? It's not like I'm a bad looking guy. I'm not saying I'm a good looking guy. I'm just saying for some reason I don't like to be in pictures. Yeah. But if you put a camera on me, I can just talk for hours and go, hey, because it's no longer about how I look. It's about the words I'm using. Mm-hmm. So with those people, but and it's funny because this guy was saying the B-roll back in the day when they had tape, there was actually a B tape and an A tape and a B tape.
Okay.
And he went into it, and I was like, I don't think that's going to help people in YouTube land with that information. But you're just saying, and what I said is A and B. So the person pointing to the person in the back, like let's say the weatherman, he has this stuff behind him. So the weatherman's A and the clouds are B. And then someone went, oh no, Sean, the clouds are A and the weatherman's B. I'm like, it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
But the point is that they're two separate things within the video. So how do you use that strategically, visually? Like, what would you do? Because you had a big, huge thing that you said went viral and went all over the place. I think you took a video that was already viral, and then you just inserted salt.
Yeah, so the video was Chris Rock, who's doing stand-up on divorce. And so I am a divorce coach, and I do this Coach Marketing Mastery as well. So I put it on my divorce coaching Instagram profile, and it did really well. And all I did was point to him. So he was, I guess, the A and I was the B, I guess. But anyway, the point is he was doing all the talking. I was just like, hey, look at this, listen to this. And it went viral. Of course, it didn't make me any money, but it went viral. Yeah. And so you can take video, and especially something that is in your niche. But here's the thing, make a call to action. That's where I went wrong. I didn't make any call to action. I didn't say, hey, if you want to know more about the 3 mistakes women make when going through divorce, download it in my bio or whatever, or comment. I didn't do that. And so maybe if I had done that, I could have actually gotten some out of, going viral would have actually benefited me. It didn't.
Yeah. It could have. And the thing is, it's like, again, the strategic use of visuals and media, there's a thing called leveraging, right? So you leveraged off of someone else's video that was already viral because someone got slapped by someone else. So anytime they were going to put content out, that was going to go all over America. Now the thing is, there's another guy that went viral a while back, and he was the Machine, Charlie Machine. He had a meltdown. Now all of the people that were like by his side did not care about Charlie Sheen. I'm telling you right now. I lived in Westlake Village. I think I lived in Westlake Village when that all went down. Is when Mel Gibson had his thing down in Santa Monica. I did live there then. I don't know if but as the Malibu thing, you see all the people out there. And the thing is that the people that are leveraged, so Snoop Dogg wrote a song called Winning. Why? Because there was this viral, this guy having a meltdown, and all these people were like going, he's trending. If I hop on board with him, I'll be trending. Even though it was trending in a negative way. It was a man ruining his life, like literally. Everybody was waiting for him to die. He was on the verge of dying. And he was mentally not together at the time, right? I think he hit bottom and he got well, and now he's in recovery and all that stuff. But on his way down, he could have died at any moment, And there was other people hopping on board with him, using that viral negativity to their benefit, right?
Right.
So you can strategically use other people's visuals. Now, there's pros and cons to that. Some people are going to say, so I said this about this guy. He was a drum teacher, and there's another drummer. He's one of the best drummers in the world right now. I can't pronounce his name. He's from Brazil or something. And so the guy was pointing at he was the front, and the B, he was the A or the B, whatever.
Yeah.
And the drummer was playing the background. Now, if the drum teacher had 5 million subscribers and the drummer had 100,000 subscribers, then he was actually doing a favor, right? But he was still taking the guy's content. So I'm not going to get into integrity here or there because I'm sure we do it. But my point is, when you're using the strategic use of visuals or other people's visuals, then I guess the most important thing you said is to have a call to action.
Yeah. And also, I would definitely say don't think that going viral is going to be like the end all. Because, I mean, most people don't go viral. And many times it doesn't do anything for you. It might get you some subscribers.
Yeah.
But that's not the intent behind doing social media. Offer value, and you want to, it's like dating. Like we always say, you want to give more value than you take. And then you create this following, and then they start liking you. And then there's, oh, wow, maybe I should download the guide, and maybe I should book a consultation. So, and also be strategic, like you're saying, Sean. Be strategic about what you're posting. Don't just throw spaghetti at the wall and just create content for the sake of creating content going, happy Monday. That's not going to do anything. You want to.
Oh, I know who you were just. Anyhow, go ahead.
Anyway, and so you want to definitely have some strategy to what you're posting and how it applies to your niche.
So this is Coach Marketing Mastery Podcast. We do this every Monday at 10 a.m. and we talk about it every Sunday at around 7 or 8 p.m.
Right.
So it's not like we're just bringing you this information. It's actually planned out. We come up with topics. We got to figure out. And then I pretty much probably say the same thing all the time. One of the things you're saying about that is people will hire me and they'll go, okay, Sean, now that I paid you, let's make a viral video. I'm like, I don't know what's in your head, but the only way that I know for a fact is to do something really dramatic that is not cool, because people don't want to see you feeding a puppy, that is like has a little broken leg and he's homeless. Like, some people will watch that, but the most dramatic things get the most news.
Right.
I'm not going to go into what those are, but I think you guys can figure it out. But the other thing is, when it comes to going viral, you never know what it is. There's this lady, and I know you've seen this because it went viral, and she went in a store and she bought this Chewbacca mask.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Mm-hmm.
Everybody saw that. And then she put it on and she was belly laughing. And the more she belly laughed, the more the Chewbacca roared,
Right.
which made her laugh even more, which made me laugh. And then she laughed, and then her laugh made me laugh. The mask made me laugh, and the roar of the mask made me laugh.
Yeah.
And then everyone went and bought that mask.
Yeah,
Right?
but you're right. You never know what's going to go viral, but that shouldn't be the intention behind doing social media at
I know,
all.
but she had no idea when she
Right.
made that.
Right, of course.
All the people that make viral videos, they have no idea.
Well, I will say that the least amount of effort and time I put into something usually does better than the rest.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like I slap it up, and I, because I thought it was funny or whatever, and man, it does usually better than anything I've planned out.
Yeah, it's different for me because when I first started working with Craig Jacobson back in 2012 at the Encinitas Cafe, getting waffles with real maple syrup. By the way, Encinitas Cafe, pro tip, ask for real maple syrup. They'll bring it to you. People don't know that. They have it in the back. Okay. But anyhow, I remember saying to this one guy, every time I write an email, it takes like 45 minutes. This is back then. I would put a lot into writing the copy and the content and getting it right, change it around like this is going to convert. I don't consider myself a copywriter, but I know that when I write copy, people are like, wow, that's really super good. And I'm like, really? It's just like words. But I asked this guy, Marty, he's like, oh man, it takes me 5 minutes. Like all these guys belittled me in this group. It was funny because I was one of the best guys in there, but you can't shine brighter than like Snoop Dogg shined brighter than everyone else, right? But there's certain places where you don't want your shine to go, because you're at someone else's event and you don't want to take away from what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
Unless you pay to be on stage. So I'm like, that guy's like, well, I only write, email in 5 minutes. Well, no, I had to put a lot of thought into what I did in order for it to come out right. So we're going to go on to the profile optimization, right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear my chair squeaking?
Yeah.
Dang it. I was going to buy a chair over the weekend, but I got caught up. So with the profile optimization, this is the thing. Marcus Murphy wrote something, and it's on YouTube, Marcus Murphy LinkedIn, and he worked for Digital Marketer, and he wrote, it's like this 3-hour thing, and I watched it, and I made my link. I was like, you know what, that really, even though it was really good, it probably did optimize my LinkedIn profile. There's do's and don'ts. One is the cross-pollination. Don't say one thing here and another thing there, right? But when it comes to optimizing your profile, what do you think are some things you should do visually and content-wise?
Yeah, it depends on what platform you're on. So we could talk about the different platforms. Like the other day we had a client who is, she was not a client, she's in the masterclass, and she was saying that she evolved. She, is now a divorce coach. She used to do recruiting or something like that. And so she didn't know if she should smash it all together or create a different account. So she ended up creating a different account. But my thought on that is, and I'll use my example, our example, is that I'm a divorce coach, but I'm also a marketing coach. So in my LinkedIn, I put divorce coach, certified divorce coach / marketing coach, because it's still under the coaching realm umbrella. But I did deliberate over this. Like, what do I do? And so I think it is a bit tricky, but in the LinkedIn situation, I just showed my evolution because it's still under coaching. Now, if it was drastically different, like I'm now a costume designer, I might do a different profile, right? So if you go over to Instagram, I did do a different profile. I did Coach Marketing Masterclass and Coach Marketing Mastery, and then I have my India Kern divorce coaching. Now I do a little bit of cross pollination. I am guilty of that, I have to say, because I didn't have any following on the Coach Marketing Mastery and Masterclass yet. So I just was telling people, hey, I'm doing this. And now I'm doing more in that one profile. So I'm trying to separate them now.
Right.
So yeah, so like Instagram, I would say do separate ones. LinkedIn, I think it's okay to see an evolution as long as it's not too just completely different.
Well, you got to think LinkedIn is a business profile.
Right.
So like when you go down, okay, listen, there's a thing called a resume, okay?
Yeah.
And your resume is going to pretty much go like this: McDonald's,
Right.
Burger King, Best Buy, manager at Best Buy, vice president of Best Buy, entrepreneur, right?
Right.
So you're going to have things like that
Mm-hmm.
in your LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So to have business investor marketer is not conflicting, because you, as a business owner, you also have to be a marketer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have on ours, on mine, it's a Business Buyers Academy, right? Which I may or may not take down, but that's really like a good solid program that people can buy.
Mm-hmm.
Joan Snowdy at LinkedIn. But the thing is that a lot of people will say one thing, right? That, well, let's just keep it to coaches, right?
Mm-hmm.
They'll say, "Oh, I'm a sales coach," but then you go to their LinkedIn and it says that they sell furniture at Sam's
or clothing designer or whatever. You're just like,
Yeah.
wait a second. Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, so well, what do you really do?
Mm-hmm.
So you got to be aware of that and be careful for that. But with mine, like I had Sobriety Society. I was doing stuff with treatment centers, doing marketing for them, and then gyms. I was with gyms first, then treatment centers, and then now I'm just with coaches, authors. But it's all the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just there's some people make more money than the rest, right?
Right.
So to optimize it, some people, there's certain things you could do, and I don't know what they are, that when people search in Google, you're going to come up to the top.
Right. So you could actually use it as, and I don't know all the details of this, but you can use it as SEO, because don't waste your space. Instagram, you only have a few words. Don't repeat them. Actually use words that would be a good search for you, like marketing, like coach, like strategy, like, all the things that you would want someone to search for to find you.
Burritos,
yes.
I have burritologist in every single one of my. Did you know that?
I know that you have it on Twitter or X, but yes.
I have it on Facebook. I have it on LinkedIn. I have it
Okay.
Yeah, because I search out and eat tasty burritos.
Right.
Okay, the last thing is content optimization across platforms.
Mm-hmm.
So what's the difference between profile optimization and content optimization?
Well, okay, so content.
You just said it, hashtags and all that.
Yeah, and I am hearing that hashtags don't work like they used to, at least in Instagram. As far as the other platforms, I still use them, but I don't think you need to do 50 anymore, because I really don't think it serves what you think it's doing. It's just kind of a waste of time. So use like 3. I don't think you have to use that many anymore. At least in Instagram, they're saying they don't even matter. Now I don't know about YouTube and LinkedIn. I still use
that.
Well, that's what I'm hearing on the Instagram. The people that are the
gurus
or the gurus are saying that. Well, actually, Instagram, the CEO said it. The hashtags do not matter, and so don't waste your time on them. That's just Instagram. That doesn't mean it's the same in LinkedIn and YouTube. And
yeah, I remember going to people's Facebook pages, and I'm like, man, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're doing here, but it just looks stupid.
Yeah.
And maybe they were doing it for SEO purposes, but there's also like the whole negativity. People would say negative stuff, and then they'd get this one lady. I don't want to say her name, but she has purple hair. She says she's a Christian, and she said something to the effect of, "If you're not making money, you're not a real Christian. You're basically a loser."
Wow.
And everybody was like, I'm not a loser. And like she got so much, and she got so much reach. She kept saying it.
Wow.
But now I don't know if, but she might have found, wow, I got a lot of reach, but I
Mhm.
went from 4,000 friends
Exactly.
to 700
I
friends.
mean, yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so you got to be really careful.
About your content.
Yeah, your content, what you say, and how you optimize it.
Right.
You
Right.
know, because it could be a negative. And like my post that I made about someone, and I put a David Bowie lyric to it, and I got a lot of negative reaction. And I wasn't even saying, I wasn't agreeing with anyone.
Mhm.
I was just asking people, why do you feel that way?
Right. Right.
Are you angry at this person, or why do you like this person? What do you like about them? Why are you angry at them? I'm
Mhm.
trying to understand, but the whole time people are unliking and
Right.
unsubscribing and unfriending me.
So negative attention is not always good. Just because it's, some people say if you're talking about me, it's good. Not necessarily.
Well, and she did get a lot of outreach out of that, but she might have lost a lot of
Yeah.
good people that were going to buy from her, you know? And that's another thing that we could wrap this up with is, do you have any content out there that is not in line with who you are as a business person? For instance, with me, and I don't even know what videos I had out there, but I know I was doing a lot of stuff. It wasn't bad.
Right.
It was like maybe um none of it was bad, but I thought it was bad. It wasn't in line with who I was as a business person. But there's other things, like if I'm skateboarding, I have this one. What is the name of that hill at the top of where the cross is?
Soledad.
But,
Mount Soledad.
but then what's that park called right over there?
That's Kate Sessions.
Kate Sessions, and you know that road that goes from Kate Sessions
Down.
down that road that goes to Pacific Beach,
Yeah.
that hill.
Yeah.
I rode a longboard skateboard down that hill,
Wow.
and I was like 45 years old when I did it. So I said, I'm going to ride. Now, when I took the picture, you couldn't tell how steep it was, but I was like, I'm going to ride this board down this hill.
Mhm.
And and why am I telling you this? Oh, so I had that video. I had that picture out there. It wasn't a video, but I would leave something like that up because that's kind of me, having fun.
Yeah.
But I had other things of me, like just like maybe a pillow fight in my house, and you don't need to see me in a pillow fight, right?
But I think it is okay to have a little personality, like, if and you can, there's different ways you can do this because, according to the platform, of course. But like, say you're on Instagram, you can put it in your story, and that's only 24 hours. And so that could be, I'm down at the shores or I'm about to go surfing or whatever.
Yeah.
And you can have it in your story. Or if you want to make it a content piece where you're talking about how surfing and coaching are similar, or so you wish you had a coach that would help you cross step, and you tie that into having a coach is a good thing, then that's different. But there's stories, there's posts, there's reels, there's so much. There's long form, there's IGTV.
So let me ask you a question. I have a couple iPhones, right?
Mhm.
These are live,
Yeah.
and then I have other iPhones that are old, and
Mhm.
they will no longer work on the system. It's just I never threw them out, and they have space. And these are big, fat iPhones, and they won't really fit on my what is this called? A selfie stick,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They
Mhm.
won't really fit on these because they're just so wide,
Right.
right?
Mhm.
But I have other ones that. So, is there a way that I can make the video on the older one, and then when I get home, upload the video to Instagram, and then have that go in as a story?
Yeah. Yeah.
I know the answer is yes, but I'm asking that question for the audience.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So you can repurpose old technology. Don't throw away your old iPhones. If they're in the drawer, you can pull them out right now, and you could video yourself at different angles in your office, and then you could edit and put that whole video together and make something really super cool,
Yeah.
right? A lot
Yeah.
of don't think this way.
And another thing is repurpose old content. You can change it up. You don't have to. As you get better at video editing, you can take an old piece of content, chop it up differently, rename it with a better hook for that first 3 seconds, turning a glance into a stare. And so don't, remember that you have content and you can always repurpose it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that wraps up another episode of Coach Marketing Mastery with India Kern, Sean Snowday, co-founders of Coach Marketing Mastery. We should actually say this at the beginning. Go to coachmarketingmasterclass.com, coachmarketingmasterclass.com. We go over what we talk about on Mondays. We go over that on Friday in groups. You could show up, ask any questions, find out more about us, and then we might even put you in the hot seat and look at your website or your social media content and tell you how you can enhance it.
Exactly.
Okay, well, thanks for another productive day. And by the way, all these topics were written by India. So thank you, India.
Of course. All right.